Good evening and welcome to a program devoted entirely to Lefties losing it. We have so much content. The lefties have been extra crazy over the Christmas break, so get ready for a barrage of woke lunacy. Let's start in Canada, where the neo-Marxist himbo himself, Justin Trudeau, has finally realised how loath he is and is stepping down. I wonder if over the last few months there were any clues to his unpopularity. Take it away, rock legend Mick Jagger.
Well, Mr. Trudeau, I mean, his family's always been such big fans of our band. By the way, congratulations on the Canadian soccer team getting to the semi-finals.
Very skillful of Mick there to just quickly change the topic to soccer. Yes, the Rolling Stones, I don't think, are too used to hearing booing at their concerts. Justin Trudeau was a media darling, the picture-perfect progressive male feminist, but the people in Canada have finally seen through him. He has caused untold damage to the country, and Canadians are no longer shy about confronting him, whether it's in the streets or in a diner.
Mr. Prime Minister,
yeah.
please get the out of BC.
Have a wonderful day, man.
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, that's him, all right.
Now, many deranged folks have been utterly broken by Donald Trump, and there are also those who we once thought were sane and mildly intelligent who have allowed TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, to completely destroy their standing among thinking people. And no man better demonstrates that than Sam Harris, a member of the intellectual dark web, remember that? But turns out he's just a massive hysteric. Here's Sam Harris, who's now a ballistic expert apparently, embarrasses himself by questioning whether Donald Trump was actually shot. Even fellow TDS sufferer Bill Maher was left shaking his head.
I'm surprised that a rifle round making any degree of contact with an ear wouldn't do more damage. I think a shattered piece of shrapnel from a teleprompter is far more likely to have done that to his ear than a rifle round.
That's so silly.
Well, have you seen what rifle rounds do to human bodies?
I know, but like, if it just hit it by the slightest possible degree, it just, it makes much more sense. The guy behind
Well, no, but I do, no, there's no question there were rifle rounds flying. I mean, someone was killed. I'm not debating that at all.
Oh, he acknowledges that Corey actually died. I mean, what an absolute disgrace Sam Harris is these days. And if you think I'm being too hard on him, remember this from a couple of years ago when he said he didn't even care if Hunter Biden had dead bodies in his basement. This guy is deranged.
I mean, Hunter Biden, at that point, Hunter Biden literally could have had the corpses of children in his basement. I would not have cared, right?
Now, I'm going to bring you plenty on the suicidally stupid lefty policies that have devastated California and hamstrung the ability of firefighters to fight fires. But first, let's check in on a typical Californian leftist who somehow finds a way to blame Donald Trump for the fire response in a state where the Democrats enjoy a supermajority.
So we should have seen this coming. Instead of reaching out with compassion to the people in my city, Los Angeles, for losing everything in the fires, miserable Trump and his cronies are politicizing it, of course, for their own advantage. They're blaming Gavin Newsom, they're blaming the Democrats. Funny, he doesn't blame the red states for hurricanes and tornadoes and floods. No, he's a miserable man out for his own good. And by the way, he doesn't believe in climate change. It's a hoax. So you know what? We are in big trouble.
Where do you start? Well, the difference between hurricanes and tornadoes and fires is you can't cause a hurricane or tornado or fight a hurricane or tornado. You can only do a stellar rescue and recovery job, which Ron DeSantis and others like him managed to do. But you can do plenty to prevent the severity of fires, like managing the fuel loads, forest management, water management, having a well-resourced fire department. Plenty, and we'll speak about that a little bit later. But first, let's check in on just how violently deranged the left have become, where they literally defend and indeed celebrate murder on the streets.
So the CEO of the multi-billion-dollar United Healthcare Insurance Company was shot and killed this morning in New York City. And I will say that it is pretty tragic that the shooter was only able to get one of them, but it's a good start. I mean, it's a good foundation. Good, we can only move up from here. And before any of you come at me with, "Oh my God, I can't believe you'd say that," go yourself. Seriously, go yourselves.
Now, I bring you worrying news about Rosie O'Donnell, whose TDS may be causing an outbreak of herpes.
And look what I have on my lip. Everybody's been saying, you have herpes all this time, and I never had a cold sore in my life, and now I have a cold sore. And it makes me think that perhaps this weird pimple that had a tiny little head was a cold sore too. So I don't know. I will let you know tomorrow if I do in fact have herpes, as some of the taunting from the MAGA people in the last couple of weeks. Hasn't it been fun, ladies and gentlemen, to be standing in direct opposition to everything he is and represents? And always have been. And always will be.
She's right. The feud with President Donald Trump goes a long way back, years and years. You might remember this from 2016.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account...
Now, let's check in with leftist Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's now made her Broadway debut, yes, in a production called Anne Juliet, which is a queer twist on Romeo and Juliet. Of course it is.
Female empowerment. Sick. I like it too. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant.
Oh, you'll remember that's the woman who didn't know what a woman was. She thought you had to have a biology degree to answer that question. Let's go to the next clip. It's pretty incredible. And if you want to see the decay, the lawlessness that exists in parts of America, then this clip demonstrates it perfectly. Here you have thieves threatening to call the cops on the storekeeper if he doesn't open the doors so they can take their loot home.
Stupid. I might as well just put that down.
Who's opening his door?
What?
Open the door.
Right, put that down.
Okay.
You go ahead and put it over there.
You have activated our Don't touch me. You don't have the right to touch me. Don't knock on my kids.
Put my kids away. Call them.
No,
Call them.
you can't touch me though.
Call them then. Go ahead, call them.
Whoa.
Go ahead, put that down.
Come on, y'all just
The sense of entitlement is off the charts. Let's look at a new Netflix program. I think this is a movie that looks like it was made by the jokesters at Babylon Bee. This is a true story. This is not something they've made up, but I've got to say, as lefties often do, they will destroy the telling of this important story with their usual self-delighted idiocy. This is a movie called 6888, starring Oprah.
Mr. President, this assignment has proven to be a logistical nightmare. Even tried the Women's Army Corps.
You mean the White Women's Army Corps?
Well, is there another?
Unspeakable, unspeakable.
They did not send us because they thought we could do it. We are here because they are sure we cannot.
Now to this attention-seeking victim who is complaining about a wine tasting at a castle because he was misgendered again.
Our server said, "Yes, sir," when I was asking some questions. And I said, "Oh, no, I'm actually not a sir." And instead of apologizing, or I don't know what else you would do other than apologize, they just walked away. Did not acknowledge what I said, just walked away. We saw the server like whispering to a manager, and a few minutes later, the manager came over and, really big smile, not acknowledging at all that the misgender had happened. And I say, "Hey, look, the last person, they misgendered me and that really hurt." And they just walked away. And the manager said, "Oh, well, some people just aren't as progressive as you." And then they gave us a nice little chocolate that suggested they wanted our money but didn't want to say sorry. So we left and got a full refund.
So they annoyed the servers, got a free meal, and they're still complaining. Let's go back to the devastating California fires and the DEI madness that has afflicted the estate, the far-left Democrat stronghold of California, where the LA Fire Department Assistant Chief Christine Larson has made statements like this. When we talk about woke lunacy, folks, this is what we mean.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or, "You couldn't carry my husband out of a fire," which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Where does one start? I don't care if 0.5% of firefighters are female. The last thing I think any sane person cares about if faced with a deadly fire is the diversity of those who are rescuing me. Can you believe she actually said there, it doesn't matter if she can't carry a man to safety because he shouldn't have got himself in the wrong place? That's the attitude we've got in the fire department. Now let's check in with LA Mayor Karen Bass, who had these words of comfort for her constituents after returning from an overseas junket.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Can you back up, appreciate it. Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
Now, she promised she will not use her position for these overseas trips, but she was gallivanting around Ghana when the fires started. But the lefties are turning on each other in California. Here's LA Fire Chief Kristen Cowley admitting that she has been failed by the City of Los Angeles.
Did the City of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say, justifiably, what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
I think it's high time we checked in on the leader of the free world. Yes, him, POTUS, the man the media told you was cognitively sound and a decent and honest and competent commander-in-chief. You can now add dangerously delusional to President Joe Biden's long list of ailments.
I would have beaten Trump, could have beaten Trump, and I think that Kamala could have beaten Trump, would have beaten Trump.
Say what now? You could have beaten Trump? No amount of fortifying elections could have seen you beat Trump. And as we saw, Kamala didn't come close either. So why is the president saying that now? That's beyond me. Also beyond me is why he'd be uttering a sentence like this. Listen here as he speaks about the California wildfire victims losing their homes before switching to his own happy personal news.
We got a notification yesterday that their home was probably burned down. Today, the parents are maybe still standing, I'm not sure. But the good news is, I'm a great-grandfather as of today.
Their homes are gone, but yay for me, I'm a great-grandfather. Everyone clap. And if you thought that was bad, listen here as the cognitive decline and compulsive lying combine to see the president claim with a straight face that illegal border crossings came down when he became president. This is next level lefty losing at lunacy.
Look, let's get something in mind about the border. When I became president, the numbers came way down, number one. Number two, we had a circumstance where I pushed very hard for a bipartisan agreement to put more people on the border, more Secret Service agents. And guess what? He's on the phone saying, don't do it, make me look bad.
Did he just claim to have put more Secret Service agents on the border? He is cooked, folks. The truth is that the numbers exploded to record highs during his presidencies. The record numbers crossed illegally after Trump had overseen a sharp reduction in illegal entries. And let's not forget this statement from Biden after Jimmy Carter's death, where he used the occasion to, you guessed it, attack Donald Trump.
Thank you. President Trump to take from President Carter?
Decency. Everybody deserves a shot. Everybody. Can you imagine Jimmy Carter walking by someone who needs something and just keep walking?
This from a man who doesn't even acknowledge his own granddaughter, Hunter's love child down in Arkansas, who the Bidens to this day refuse to acknowledge, whose mother had to take legal action just to get some financial support for her. This is a man who wants to lecture us about decency. Okay, but whatever you may say about old Joe, at least he's not Kamala. Here is the Veep and wannabe president giving these words of advice to the victims of Californian wildfires.
And so it's critically important that to the extent you can find anything that gives you an ability to be patient in this extremely dangerous and unprecedented crisis, that you do.
There you go. Basically amounts to sit down and calm down as authorities fail you again. Now, this time with the inauguration days away, one must not forget the lengths the leftist media went to cover up President Biden's and Vice President Harris's many deficiencies, though some of them are trying to rewrite history.
One of the things we also do in the year-end correspondence roundtable is dig into what was undercovered or underreported. Jan?
Undercovered, underreported. That would be, to me, Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline that became undeniable in the televised debate.
At the presidential debate with Donald Trump.
Unquestioned. And, you know, it's starting to emerge now that his advisors kind of managed his limitations. It's been reported in the Wall Street Journal for 4 years, and yet he insisted that he could still run for president. We should have much more forcefully questioned whether he was fit for office for another 4 years, which could have led to a primary for the Democrats. It could have changed the scope of the entire election.
It's starting to emerge now. Please. It was obvious to anyone with eyes and ears that the president could barely function. We reported it here, and we were attacked for it over and over again. Let me quote Congressman Byron Donalds, who had this to say for those in the media who have now decided to discuss Biden's mental condition. They decided to discuss it when it no longer mattered. They blamed it on a stutter. They blamed it on Russian disinfo. They blamed it on cheap fakes. They hit him at every opportunity. They scripted every public event. They denied the Her report findings. They sent him on vacation for 570 days. They brazenly lied to you for years. This could be the biggest presidential cover-up in American history, and the media defended it all until they got exposed at the debate. Don't let the media gaslight you. This story existed for years, and they avoided it on purpose. Here, I couldn't have said it better myself. Every single word there is true. And one of the very worst in the media, Don Lemon, had this recent meltdown about MAGA. He seems to have forgotten that Donald Trump actually won the election in a landslide. I don't know, he thinks it's all fallen apart for MAGA.
You dumb idiots. Now you're just figuring this out. You're so stupid and you deserve it. You deserve it because you're so dumb. Jim, it's hypocrisy. So go with me here. Yes, I am gloating over your stupidity and how you were taken I'm cackling in Kamala. You know what they're saying about the anti-immigrant stuff, right? Who's it to say that one of the jobs you might be seeking won't be one of those white jobs? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
It can only be a matter of time before the men in white coats come and take Don away to a nice padded room, good Lord. And here is Jim Acosta with a human potato, where they both, surprise, surprise, believe the Biden White House should be censoring free speech.
Meta has a lot of business before the U.S. government, and I think that's ultimately what this is all about.
Yeah, and he's complaining about the Biden administration, yelling at them to say, get some of this COVID misinformation off their platforms. I mean, isn't that's sort of what the White House should be doing, right?
Oh dear. Sticking with the media, here is 60 Minutes' Leslie Stahl claiming the economy Trump is inheriting is great and trying again and again to get the CEO of JP Morgan Chase to criticise Donald Trump's policies.
He is inheriting a pretty good economy, despite what people feel, all these metrics that you see. But what about advice to him on some of the policies that he's threatening to do that could hurt the economy? For instance, tariffs. Have you talked to him about tariffs? If you could talk to him right now, what would you say?
I have not spoken about tariffs. I think you should read The Art of the Deal. He's a negotiator. He lays out some very tough things, and sometimes it works. We have to worry more about national security, resiliency, diversified supply chains, and we didn't. And also, we should have worried more about who it hurt. Tariffs are a way, are a tool, properly used, that can help get some of those issues resolved.
Oh, she wasn't done yet. She was going to try again.
Your relationship with him? Story, we all read that you called to congratulate him and he wouldn't take the call.
No, that wasn't true.
It wasn't true?
No, it wasn't true, Leslie. You should be used to that. Remember when she claimed to President Trump's face that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation, that there was no evidence of Joe Biden being the recipient of financial benefits from his son's dodgy business dealings? She also claimed there was no evidence that they spied on Donald Trump's campaign. Don't forget this.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
Well, there's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? This is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally verified.
No.
And now that same journalist is upset that trust in the media is at historic lows. People do not trust these lefty activists masquerading as journalists. I'm shocked.
If you watch the opinion of us, how many people trust the press anymore? I mean, we're way down there with the lawyers.
Yeah.
This is really rough, as you know.
You're way down there with Congress.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're way down there with Congress, but we're way down there. And I despair. Seriously, I worry greatly, and I think there are other institutions that have been suffering. And you're right not to blame Donald Trump 100%, obviously, started many years before, but we're at a point where if the President of the United States is going to say legacy media is dead, well, I guess Musk said that. Legacy media is dead.
And he wants it dead. He wants other media.
But it is kind of, sort of, hobbling right now. And I don't know how it recovers. I'm very dark about it.
Ooh, she's very dark about it. The kids call that FAFO, F-A-F-O. Google it, Leslie. What you're saying is the consequences of your actions. Here is another grown man telling vulnerable kids that powerful drugs and irreversible surgeries are perfectly safe. Everything you're about to hear is a lie, a dangerous lie. And I've got to add, this clown is a TV host.
around gender affirming care in minors. First of all, puberty blockers. Puberty blockers are safe, and interestingly, puberty blockers are given to cisgender kids now when little girls or little boys experience precocious puberty, meaning puberty very early, around like 4, 5, 6, 7. They will be given puberty blockers to delay puberty, not prevent it, so that when they're closer to 12, 13, they can get off the puberty blockers and then puberty happens as typical. As far as long-term fertility issues, puberty blockers have no link to long-term fertility issues. And trans young people are not getting gender reassignment surgery. They're not getting top surgery. They're not getting bottom surgery until they are 17, 18, sometimes 16 for top surgery, but they have to have parental consent.
That's Queer Eye's Jonathan Van Ness, another celebrity gender propagandist who can't even stick to his own nonsense. He says kids aren't getting these top surgeries and bottom surgeries except when they're, 16? That's under 18 in my book, if with parental consent, as if that makes it okay. And we're talking here about mutilating confused kids, removing healthy breasts at 16, perhaps a penis, and thinking it's justifiable. Goodness me. Now, I've saved the best for last. Have a look at these absolute simpletons, these leftist agitators who think a member of Hamas, an Islamist terror group, would be more LGBT friendly than a typical Trump supporter. Just when you think that the left can't get any more stupid, they go and surprise you.
Between these two choices, who would you say is more likely to be supportive of the LGBTQ community?
Oh, this dude.
Okay, why would you say that?
Because he's a brown person and he's not for Trump.
Do you think the fact that he's part of Hamas would stop him from supporting that community?
Not at all.
Probably number one.
Number one?
Palestinians.
Why would you say that?
Because Trump supporters are typically anti-LGBT.
Do you think, so somebody that's a member of Hamas, would they support the LGBTQ community?
I'm not sure.
Number one? Okay, what makes you say that?
They just look kinder.
Kinder. Do you think that, somebody that's, say, a member of Hamas would be supportive of the gay community? Yeah. What do you think?
Maybe him.
Number one?
He looks a little friendlier.